In the secluded corners of the Sunstone Plains Reserve, amidst rocky outcrops and dense river thickets where shadows dance with patches of sunlight, lived a remarkable pair of leopards. They were an enigma in these parts. They stayed together, something incredibly rare for these natural loners, creating their own secret world, hidden from watchful eyes. He was a large male with powerful paws and a mesmerizing gaze from amber eyes, his spotted coat perfectly blending with the play of light and shadow. She was a graceful female, the embodiment of stealth and elegance, every step measured and light. Their bond, formed against instinct, was strong and constant. They were inseparable in their secretive lives. Together, they moved like shadows on the hunt, rested together in the cool of the rocks, sharing the quiet sustenance of the wild. Their silent devotion to one another seemed almost unreal for these elusive predators. The reserve's rangers, Ren, Zara, and Malik, knew about this unusual pair. Their rare sightings always sparked wonder. Sometimes, if you were lucky, at dawn, you might glimpse their silhouettes flitting for a moment at the edge of the woods, or in the twilight, spot them resting on the branches of a sprawling tree, almost invisible among the leaves. Observers marveled. What kept them together for so long, defying the solitary nature of leopards? But one day, Zara's keen eyes noticed a change in the female. She was expecting cubs. This news was a thrilling development for the reserve team. Soon, new life would emerge in this hidden corner of the world. However, as the time drew near, the female became even more cautious. The pair almost vanished from open view. She chose a deep hidden crevice among the rocks, lined with dry grass, as her future den. The male became her shadow, sticking close. His vigilance intensified. He constantly patrolled the area around the den. Their movements became nearly invisible. They rarely strayed far from their chosen sanctuary. It was clear they were preparing for the miracle of birth. But one morning, the silence of the rocky ravine was broken by alarming, intermittent sounds. Unlike the usual leopard growls, the female was distressed within her shelter, making low moans. The rangers patrolling nearby realized she was in labor, but hours passed, and the sounds only grew weaker, fading into faint whimpers. She lay exhausted on the ground inside the den, clearly lacking the strength to continue. The male was frantic. He paced near the den's entrance, making low, anxious sounds, his body tense. He was powerless to help his mate. It was these unusual sounds that caught the attention of the patrol team, Ren, Zara, and Malik, as they checked a remote sector. Approaching cautiously, they saw the male leopard pacing agitatedly near the rocks, behavior completely out of character for this stealthy creature. Peeking into the crevice from a safe distance, they saw the weakened female. The experienced rangers knew instantly the situation was critical. They stopped their vehicle at a distance, careful not to spook the male further. Time was running out. The birth was clearly complicated, and the female was fading. The male paced, his anxiety almost palpable. He looked towards the humans, seemingly torn between fear and a desperate hope for help. Ren, who understood leopard behavior, Zara, with basic wildlife first aid skills, and Malik, handling logistics and safety, quickly assessed the situation. The risk was immense. A distressed leopard is unpredictable, but leaving the female and her unborn cubs was unthinkable. The decision was unanimous. They had to intervene. After a quick briefing, they began the operation. Malik stayed with the vehicle, ready to approach quickly. Ren and Zara moved slowly towards the crevice. The male let out a warning growl, crouching low, but didn't attack. Ren advanced very slowly, avoiding sudden movements, speaking in a low, calm voice, knowing the animal responded more to tone and demeanor than words. Zara followed, carrying a bag with essential supplies. The male shifted nervously, his tail twitching. He was clearly torn between the instinct to protect his den and the understanding that his mate was in grave danger. Then, something astonishing happened. The male stopped growling. He made a soft, almost pleading sound and stepped back slightly, allowing the humans to approach the entrance. His eyes were filled with anxiety. Ren took it as a sign of trust. However reluctant, he carefully peered inside. Zara joined him. They saw the exhausted female. Her breathing was shallow. She needed urgent veterinary care, the kind only available back at the center. They had to hurry. On Ren's signal, Malik carefully brought the vehicle as close as possible to the rocks. Ren and Zara, working quickly but smoothly, wrapped the female in a thick blanket and gently carried her out of the crevice. The male watched their every move, standing nearby. He didn't interfere, but tension was visible in every muscle. Once the female was settled safely in the back of the vehicle, the male took a few steps towards it, peered inside, then, as the vehicle slowly pulled away, he followed like a shadow, disappearing into the brush and reappearing, keeping pace. The drive to the rehabilitation center felt like an eternity. Upon arrival, the female was immediately transferred to the veterinary clinic. The veterinary team was ready. Necessary procedures began immediately. An IV drip was started to give her strength. Everyone held their breath, waiting, and outside, hidden in the shadows near the building, the male waited. He didn't leave. The medication and the vet's skilled assistance worked. The female began to respond. Labor progressed. Under the careful supervision of the specialists, the first tiny spotted bundle emerged into the world, then a second, and finally, a third. 3 tiny leopard cubs, blind and helpless, but alive. Ren, Zara, and Malik felt a wave of immense relief wash over them. The worst was over. The mother, though exhausted, instinctively nuzzled her cubs, letting out a soft purr. Outside, the male, as if sensing the change, grew still, listening intently. The vets ensured the cubs were stable, providing warmth and care. The mother needed rest and observation, so she was kept in a secure recovery enclosure overnight. The male spent the night somewhere nearby. Rangers found his tracks near the center's fence in the morning. His devotion to his mate was incredible. The next day, once the female had regained sufficient strength and the cubs were actively mewling for milk, the decision was made to return the family to their natural habitat. The enclosure door was opened. The female, still weak but steadier on her paws, stepped out. Almost immediately, the male emerged silently from the nearby bushes. He approached her, and for a moment, they rubbed faces, a rare gesture of affection for these solitary cats. Then, the female gently picked up one cub by the scruff of its neck. The male, after a brief hesitation, followed suit with the second. The female returned for the third cub shortly after. Together, they headed back towards the familiar rocks and thickets. Before finally melting back into the shadows, the male paused and looked back. His amber eyes met Ren's. There was no fear, just a silent acknowledgement. Ren, Zara, Malik, and the entire center staff watched them go, their hearts filled with respect and hope for the future of this unique family. The story of this extraordinary leopard pair and their rescued cubs became a quiet legend in the Sunstone Plains, a reminder that even in the wildest heart of nature, deep bonds can form, and that compassion knows no bounds.